Okay, so if you agree, we can start and the rest can join us during the webinar. So first of all, thank you very much to join this really interesting session about digital marketing and how to extract insights for the performance on the investment on digital marketing. The presenters will be Sarah and Andy that are with me today. My name is Eric Martin. I'm the country general manager of MDW Partner. And first of all, let me to introduce the very quick tech company. So we are a company based on 3 countries that are Spain, France, and Switzerland, where we have our headquarters. We count with 30 employees, with one particularity, that is that these 30 employees are experts on the field of just data. Then we are working with more than 40 customers, and one particularity is that most of our customers are corporate and enterprise, so big companies, finally. And what we do just, like I said, just one thing, just data. And inside this data world, we are doing these three parts. First one is big data, where we do almost everything about big data warehousing, data lake, data streaming, ETL, of course, optimization of cost of cloud platform. Then we do artificial intelligence, where our main differentiator is to provide solutions based on artificial intelligence, not just a model that you can use. And inside these solutions, we are working with all data types like tabular data, time series, images, text, and so on. And finally, the one that we are related today, so go back, please, Sarah, is the business applications part, where our main differentiator is to create complex business intelligence solutions like the one that you are going to see today. And finally, some credentials on our side, and with this, I finished my part. We are the Microsoft Partner of the Year globally, second worldwide, out of 3.9K entries, which is good award for us. We are also #1 in Swiss in Power Platform, and last year we were #1 in Analytics and AI in Switzerland. So we are used to work with this kind of scenarios like Sarah and Andy are going to present today. And again, thank you for joining us, and I hope you enjoyed the webinar. One more topic, I will be paying attention to the chat. So any question you have, you can ask there, and I will try to pass to the experts if I'm not able to answer. Okay, so enjoy the webinar.
So good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us. As Eric has said, I'm Sarah Rodriguez. I will be presenting the main part of this webinar, close to Andy. Andy, if you want to introduce yourself.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Andy Kozager. I'm a director of enterprise solutions at a company called Supermetrics, and Supermetrics is a partnership with MDW company. And I will guide you through some specific topics related to the attribution and marketing data.
So thank you, Andy. And now I'm going to introduce myself. I am Power BI business data specialist. I'm focused in the business part of the analytics. I have developed several reports for different departments inside the company, for human resources, digital marketing, finance, and so on. And I come from the business environment. So what I do, my work basically is to understand the needs of the clients. As I come from the business parts, I can understand better these needs, study then later the data, and then finally take all these needs and all this data and create the insights that the end user needs. That's my basic my work. So let's begin. First of all, I would like to tell you that this webinar is more focused on the solution oriented, okay? So maybe for the BI analyst that could be here with us, it's not so technical because for that reason, it's more solution oriented. We are going to present the idea, okay? So what is the purpose of this webinar? Well, mainly to show through a real case the simplification and flexibility that Power BI brings to digital marketing nowadays, okay? So why this webinar could be necessary? Well, for several reasons. The first one is to understand the challenge that of performance management in digital marketing activities, because as you know, the world today runs too fast. Secondly, to understand the solution available that we have already approached with other customers. And the third one, I think is the most important one, is to get a real feedback based on a real project we have already faced. So the audience, the focus target audience here, as I have told, is more solution-oriented, is for the marketing and sales managers or directors, or digital marketing managers, directors. Of course, the BI analysts are welcome too, but it's not so technical, okay? It's just an advice. So how are we going to structure this webinar? Well, mainly by two steps. The first one is to understand the objectives, the context, and the challenges in digital marketing and in Power BI, okay, to understand a little bit how is the environment nowadays of these two environments. And secondly, to show the solution with Power BI, Azure, and as Andy said, with Supermetrics, okay? And later, at the end of this webinar, we will present you the demo, a demo from a client, an overview of this project, okay? So let's begin. Objective, context, and challenges. Okay, so the main objective of this webinar is to understand how to obtain such a digital marketing performance management dashboard. How we did this dashboard. The process that we have faced and how we could solve that that challenges, okay? So the context. Well, the context in digital marketing is a little complex and simple at the same time, okay? Digital marketing has become a key element in companies, even more in a context where everything changes very quickly. You know, what works today is old-fashioned tomorrow, so we have to be very malleable about this. And to have an efficient marketing, any company needs goals, such as awareness, consideration, conversion, which give us some results like engagement, views, lead generation, among others. And this requires to the company some means. This means could be cost. You know, everything in life has a cost, so cost can be fixed or variable. Skills, everything changes very fast, so you have to learn skills all the time, especially in digital marketing. And so for sure, you have to know your product, your brand, who you are to present to the world who you are. If not, it's quite impossible. And for sure, you have to understand the tools, the new tools and platforms that are launched in digital marketing every day. So these goals, results, and means are used to define the digital marketing strategy, and this needs to be monitored just to measure their profitability or their return on investment. And this is where the importance of digital marketing performance management takes action, okay? Is to measure these activities, how this operates, does them work or not? This is the tool where we can measure that performance. Indeed, a digital marketing performance management dashboards is an initiative to enable teams to have an holistic view about performance, the impact, and of course the continuous improvement of the company digital marketing activities. So you take action, and then you have to measure this action to correct them, or maybe no, if this is working fine, we can improve this, we can increase this action in this market. But as all new in life, this requires some challenges that we have already approached. The first one is the data, the seat of every analytical project is the basis. Secondly, the decisions. You have to understand the decisions of the end users. And the third one is the metrics and the KPIs, how to modulate these insights to reach the audience, okay? I'm going to explain these three challenges in the next slides. So let's begin with the first one, the data. Well, the data, as I have told you, is the seat of every analytical project. Without data, we can't do anything. It's quite impossible. So what is the problem or the challenge with the data? Well, with Power BI, we can connect data from different platforms. It's Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, and so on. And the challenge here is that every platform shows a different structure, different architecture. So we have to go through a process. It's called extraction, transformation, and loading process, which is known as ETL process. It's like making a dough for a pizza. Once you get the ingredients, you need the mixture until you get the base. It's something as simple as that, okay? Secondly, we have the decisions. You have to understand in which C-level is your end users to design the dashboard you need to show. This is very important, okay? And we can differentiate three types of C-level dashboards. The first one is the performance management. These type of dashboards are useful to monitor high-level and global indicators without deeper analysis, just to take an overview picture of the environment. You take a picture of the mountains and of the trees, but just to know how the weather is, as simple as that, okay? Just to make an image, how is the company, how is the environment. Secondly, we have the digital marketing analytics. This let us drill through with a multi-criteria analysis and understand the factors that impacted in our marketing performance. It's like you take a picture, you know how the weather is, but you can analyze if the tree is green or is brown, is autumn, is winter, that type of analysis. You can drill through the image that you have already in the performance management, okay? And you can, at the same time, you can study this analysis by dimension, by age, by country, and so on. And the third type is the digital marketing or the dashboard, the operational dashboard. This type of dashboards let us be more reactive to the actions that is happening in the digital environment, okay? Such as a bad comment. We could have a bad comment in social media. This type of dashboards let us be more reactive, act in a shorter time to correct that comment, or maybe to contact the person who wrote that comment, okay? It's more in a short time reaction. So basing on the type of dashboard the end user is located, we can schedule a different type of refresh. There is a daily refresh, hourly refresh, and near real-time refresh, as it is the case for operation dashboards, okay? And this differentiation let us take fact-based decision by the right people and at the right time, okay? And the last challenge are the metrics and KPIs. Once we know who our audience is, once we know what type of data we have to understand, we have to study the needs that these end users have. And we have to modulate to design the insights that they need to take. And that's why this is the functionality of the metrics and KPI. Okay, you take the data, you design the metrics, and you show to the end users. And this can be analyzed by different dimensions too, by country, by date, by campaign, and so on. So these metrics let us work from a global performance to a detailed one, where at the same time we can study the cost management and of course the return on investments. Okay, so once we have studied the theory, we can go through the the practical part of the webinar. So here is the proposed solution. It's a solution that we have already implemented with one of our clients. Okay, so the solution comes with the first tool that we used was Power BI. Why? Because Power BI provides an intuitive collaborative tool where you can access everywhere with any device, okay, from a computer and from a smartphone. You can access from everywhere, from every device. So Power BI has three types of environments. The first one is the Power BI desktop. Here is where we mainly create the dashboard. We extract the data, we share the data here, we modulate the data, we transform the data, and then we create the modulation to show later the visualization and the storytelling to the end users. And this report can be uploaded into the Power BI service. This is the cloud of the Power BI. That's why you can access to any Power BI report from anywhere. And this Power BI service has a little breakdown in a Power BI mobile. This is like the mobile-friendly part of Power BI service. Okay, so you can design the report, the normal report, and then create another one based on this report for the mobile version. This is something I'm going to show you with the demo. Okay, and during this project with Power BI, allow us to consolidate information from different data sources. How? With the Power Query. Okay, this is an example of all the table we faced, and we modulate all this table to make approachable the solution to the end users. And at the same time, we use Azure. We use Azure Data Platform, which allow us to automate the extraction of all the platforms and at the same time centralize all in a database named Azure Synapse. And you could be asking, well, and why is this necessary? Well, this approach allows us to be much more scalable and to address future needs of collecting information contained in CRM or any ERP to combine this data with real sales transactions. And at the same time, we use Supermetrics that Andy is going to explain how it works.
So as you know, generally the data, primarily the marketing data, are present in many different places. These are typically public APIs or endpoints which you can access and get the data. So particularly marketing data has some specificity and means that they are very specific to the data source and also very complex. As example, I can give you that Facebook advertisement kind of like data are containing around 800 fields. It means, I don't know, 500 dimensions and 300 metrics. So this is just to demonstrate how complex it is both to understand, extract, and process the data to the final shape. Of course, you can pick just something very simple, which is just purely impression clicks and cost if you are doing performance marketing. But you can also get very complex data. For example, if your advertisement is around video, so you can get very detailed watched curves and see whether your video was watched 10%, 20%, half of the video. So from general high level kind of like channel or media performance, you can get to very detailed and specific aspects of each marketing and reporting platforms. That's why Supermetrics is offering over 100 marketing and different data sources which can help you to optimize your ROI and your marketing investment. Primarily, of course, if you are talking about the context of Azure Cloud or generally Microsoft environment, Supermetrics offers two main concepts. It's not only Supermetrics, but generally there are two main concepts. You can connect and get the data from public APIs or Supermetrics APIs, which is a little bit aggregated API, or you can have the solutions which are pushing the data to your data lake, SFTP server, or directly to your Azure SQL, SQL Server, or Synapse database. Maybe this picture is a little bit more complex, but I just want you just to remember that there are secure ways how to deliver marketing data in the very good shape to your kind of like cloud, and data can be really very close to ready to use. But I will be still talking in the next slides a little bit about the marketing. But let's quickly run through my chart here. So at the end, the result should be always landing in the Power BI tools. This is the kind of like place where the data are consumed, and Sarah will do the demo how can kind of example of the dashboard, how can it look like in Power BI. Supermetrics can push the data to the data lake, which is just kind of like set of the files. And there is still need for transformations. Like data typically are still not in the final form, and there are some very specific processing of the data, like blending data together. And Azure Data Factory is the component which can help to do blending. As I mentioned, the final probably place where Power BI consumes the data is Datawarehouse, whether it's latest modern Synapse, Azure Synapse, kind of like a columnar database, or just traditional SQL Server called Azure SQL. For highly secure environments, of course, the layer in between the outside world and the internal databases and the data storages can be traditional file transfer protocol server, secure file transfer, or SFTP server, which can isolate safely the data from outside world and your corporate data warehouses. Of course, Azure Cloud offers more than Power BI. There are different Power Apps and different applications, so data can be consumed even outside of Power BI for special needs, particularly if real-time data or close to real-time data are needed. I'm giving example. If you are following up the Twitter campaign and its campaign becomes the viral, and of course, typically these short-lived campaigns have a range of a couple of hours, and you would like to follow it every 10 minutes. Then you probably need more real-time approach to your marketing. It's not completely typical, because for the performance marketing, you typically look on the data for the longer period, and the cost is typically like good enough for yesterday or older data. So you typically look on the financial performance that's longer range. Just so summary from this is that there are different ways. There are hundreds of different sources, and we can pull the data into Azure Cloud or push the data as a Supermetrics, and then we can offer relatively good base and good integration as a baseline for complete marketing data warehouse. We can go to the next slide, and of course, data have different nature, and the most typical kind of like problem or kind of like questions which every marketer is having, that how my specific channels or even campaigns are attributing to my specific target goal, or we can call it conversion. Conversion can be, of course, direct purchase or sales, but for media or companies which are not directly need sales, sometimes the target or conversions can be, of course, anything happening on your web page. User visited certain article, blog, user submitted the form, or any interaction with your own property. So as you know that how marketing works, so there are several steps. You publish the campaigns to your digital platforms, and campaigns in whatever forms. It can be either search campaigns or display or video campaigns, advertisement. It's displayed on those different platforms. So we get so-called impression. This step is not measured yet because user didn't click, didn't interact yet. After clicking, we get so-called kind of like number of clicks, and this can be tracked in our web analytics on web page. On the other side, of course, we have these multiple platforms where we need to just union it together and to get complete kind of like unified view of the platforms. And of course, we would like to compare platform to platform. So the impression, clicks, and cost is something which we put together. So this paid media overview on my slide is the first step, just kind of like normalize and look over equivalent cost spend across the platforms. Then we are joining data together with the conversions and we get complete attribution. So this is kind of like this blueprint of kind of any marketing data warehouse. It's very high level. There are of course some specificity. And one specificity which you see in the left corner is the data categorization. As you know, big companies or enterprises might be having hundreds of campaigns or even thousands of campaigns. And of course, if you have thousands of campaigns on different channels, probably it's difficult to meaningfully visualize it on your dashboard. That's why there is one step needed in between. It's called marketing campaign categorization. And this campaign categorization, of course, this idea is to kind of categorize campaign to different categories. Maybe we can go to the next slide, Sarah. And campaign categorization means that, for example, if campaign is focusing on awareness, then or top of the funnel, then we can give it category top of the funnel. If campaign is product specific, we can give it product name. And out of these hundreds or thousands of campaigns, we get a couple of meaningful categories, typically five categories or 8 categories. And these 8 categories is much easier to interpret on the dashboards. Here my screen is kind of like explanation because there are multiple ways how good and precise we can kind of like attribute our spend into the conversion. And there are multiple ways how to do this attribution model. The very simple one is if you're only joining conversion data based on date. And that's example which Sarah will demonstrate. It's just showing how many sales you did on certain date versus how much you spent or how much impression you get on certain date. So if you are joining by the date, we get relatively high level, but still relatively good understanding, particularly for the campaigns which are more or less very active. It means campaign to click delays within the same day. So this is the simplest model. We just align data by the date. Additionally, of course, we can give the data source name like Facebook, LinkedIn on the same date and do a little bit of breakdown. And we can join on the date and the data source name. And this gives us idea which channel performs better or best on the date level. Of course, ultimately, we would like to give it even more granularity with this campaign grouping. And this campaign grouping is exactly just kind of categorizing the campaigns to smaller groups. And if we use all of this in the joining and blending data together, we get performance on specific day for specific channel or data source, how we call it, for specific campaign group. And this is good enough to do the attribution and start optimizing different marketing initiatives. If we go to the next slide, Sarah.
I think this.
Oh, okay, this is okay. So more or less that's it from my side. This is just literally scratching a little bit of surface that how modeling and how implementation needs to be done. I just need to remind you that the campaign naming is very important for categorization. So, for example, if you embed into the campaign name a certain specific category already, like, for example, top of the funnel, bottom of the funnel, brand, product, underscore something. So this campaign naming can help in this specific process of defining attribution on the campaign group level. So just keep in mind that before you run the tens or hundreds of the campaigns, agree on the campaign naming and embed the name into the category, then all analysts will be very thankful to you, and you can get very decent, very good, nice to use attribution models from your Power BI dashboard. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Andy, for your explanation about Supermetrics. And now we are going to go deeper in the demo, the most important part of this webinar. Okay, so first of all, I would like to explain that this report is based in a luxury industry, and obviously is fictitious data. And for terms of protect of identity of our clients, we remove the look and feel to apply of the MDW's look and feels. And mainly this report is like an overview of the real project, since this report only contains, I think, 6 dashboards. Meanwhile, the real one shows more than 30 dashboards. So it's like an overview of the real project, okay? Just in case you see something very simple, is for that reason. So let's begin. Let me explain you through a story. Maria Lopez is the digital marketing and sales director of the client's company, of the company that contacted us, and she is in charge of all the digital marketing department, okay? She works close to Carlos Perez. Carlos Perez is a social media manager, and he's in charge of all the social media digital investments and so on. What was the problem? Well, they invested a lot to improve their e-commerce, so they wanted to launch this e-commerce with a huge investment in digital marketing. So they invested a lot compared to the last year, and with the goal to increase their conversion. That was the main goal of these investments. But what was the surprise? Their conversions, they don't only kept equal, but decreased the same, and the same for their profitability, for the return on investment. So that was the problem that they told us, and this is the solution in a schema that we gave them. For that reason, we took all the data they had available. We centralized all this data to Supermetrics, storage this data in Azure Synapse Analytics, and then finally connect to Power BI. And what did we study in Power BI? Well, listening the problem that they had, we thought it would be interesting to make a differentiation, to make a breakdown about who are their customers and who are their users, because maybe they are not differentiating this gap. Then, basing on this differentiation, maybe how did they distribute the digital marketing budget, and maybe they should redistribute this budget. And studying these two first steps, they could improve, in that case, their profitability and the sales. So let's talk and more action. For my part, I have talked a lot. So this is the result. As I have told you, it's not the real case. It's like an overview of the real case. So this is a performance management type of dashboard, okay? Here you can see the general picture of how the digital marketing is operating. So first of all, we have here the budget. As you can see, they increased a lot the budget compared to the last year, but the profitability decreased a lot. At the same time, their traffic increased, but so this could give us a clue that maybe the goal is not corrected. Maybe if this budget was with the goal of increasing the traffic, increasing the awareness, could be okay, could be great. Okay, but it's not the case. Their goal was to increase their sales, their online sales. And you can see here the conversion. The conversion decreased. I don't know why this is increasing. It decreased 16%, okay? So maybe we can now asking, well, and how did they distribute their budget? Well, we can see that here. We can see the distribution by country and by target, okay? By country, we can see they invested a lot in the United States. They doubled their investment in the United States compared to European countries, okay? Yes, Italy, France, United Kingdom, and Spain. and they distribute their budget, especially in the set generation, okay? A special focus in the male gender, okay? And then by time, we can see they increase a lot their budget in August. At the same time, their sales, their sales in total didn't increase so much. They increase a lot in December for Christmas campaign. Here, there is a good correlation. Here is not so bad. So once we know the performance management picture, we can deep into the analytics part. Why this was that way, no? So first of all, we have the social media dashboards, okay? We can see here the followers distribution by country, and we can note that it's mostly the same as the digital marketing investment. So it's basing on the United States, followed by Italy, France, and so on. So it's mostly American, okay? Then by age is the same. The followers are mostly set generation, okay? Are the ones at the same time who most engage with their social media content, especially if they are male, as we can see here. The female as well, but especially if they are male, okay? So this is the first picture in analytics. The social media targeting is very similar to the digital marketing investment, okay? That could give us a clue. Then if we analyze the social media ads, we can see the same, the budget increase a lot, the impression the same, but not the CTR. So maybe the target of their campaigns in the paid ads are not the most accurate to do. And we can see here why. Well, the baby boomers, the X generation, and the millennials are the ones who most interacted with their campaigns, with their ad campaigns. The last ones were the Z generation. Okay, so here we are answering our doubts. By country, it's not so bad because the United States had the biggest CTR, followed by France and Italy. This is not so bad. At the same time, the click-to-web, this is one of the KPIs. I don't have too much time to explain all of them, but the click-to-web, the Z generation are not the highest one, okay? Are the millennials, X generation, and baby boomers, especially if they are male. No, sorry, if they are female. Okay, so this is the picture of the social media ads, and then we go through the Google Analytics part, just to study where this traffic come from, at the same time to study who really bought their products, okay? So we can see here the main source was Facebook, with almost the half of their traffic, followed by organic search. But at the same time, the social ads, so the part where they invested money is not the main one. So it's Facebook. Maybe this is not this is due to the target they did in the social media ads. And here we already can answer their doubts. Their customers, they are not from the United States, but from Europe, from France and Spain mainly, followed by, in the third place, United States. And by generation, we can see the ones who buy their products are not the Z generation, but we could say their parents, okay? The X generation and the baby boomers, especially if they are female. So maybe this is the reason why their budget wasn't present a good profitability, and they didn't increase their online sales. What's more, if we go a little deeper about their sales, we can see the total sales here, the offline sales and the online sales, and we created at the same time the correlation, a KPI named offline traffic sensitivity. This KPI, what says is how much increase the offline sales, not online, offline sales, when 1% of the traffic increase. So with this KPI, we can see if we invest in digital, is the results are coming from the online or from the offline? You can analyze that with this KPI. And we can say that with these two visuals. The first one tell us that in August, it was the most where they most invested in time, but the online sales decreased. So with these two visuals, we could say that maybe if they invest in August, they shouldn't be expecting have more online sales but offline sales. This is the insight that we can get from these two visuals. At the same time, if we analyze the cost of sales, how much is the cost of some generation by us, by our products, we can see that the sales generation is the most expensive when they buy our products, our online products, okay? At the same time, they don't buy too much in every purchase, okay? Based on the average or the value. So the ones, the most cheapest ones are the X generation, followed by baby boomers and the millennials. And the X generation, I think, is the target, the online target of their clients in this sense, okay? Because they are not so much expensive. At the same time, they buy on average 210 euros in every time. And by gender, we could say that the male generation is more expensive than the female one for the same arguments that I have explained. So this is the result that we could take from this dashboard, and let me show you the mobile version. As is a mobile, you know, the screen is much smaller than a computer screen. So we have to redesign this dashboard just to make it more approachable, more interesting. And this is one example of that dashboard. Okay, so you can take this information, go into work while you are in the taxi going to work. Okay, it's more intuitive. Okay, so if we go back to the presentation and we go to the outcomes with these dashboards, we could realize how much they could improve the insights in the differentiation of the users and the clients. Now we know who are the users, the Z generation, and who are the clients, the X generation, okay? At the same time, they could correct their budget because they could redistribute their marketing budget. For that reason, the decision making that they already have is has more flexibility to take action in much more or less time. And this gave us an increasement of their sales and profitability. And that's all from my part. I hope you enjoy it, you understood it, because it's a lot of work in the meanwhile. If you have any doubts, I'm happy to answer.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Andy. So do you have any doubt about the webinar, about digital marketing, something you want to comment? Okay, well, anyway, we'll give you our contact. We'll send you the slides if you're interested, and you can contact us in another moment if you have doubts, because like Sarah said, it's a lot of information in just one session, so you can moderate it and then write us. So, well, I think we can end the session. So thank you very much for joining. I hope you liked, and yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you all for being here with us. And as Eric said, if you have any doubt, please let us know and we'll be happy to answer.
Thank you very much.